All right.
Hey, you're watching the Wantrepreneur Journey, the show that's dedicated to inspiring you to step out and to live your dreams. I'm so excited about today's guest, our spotlighted guest, Luka Lesson. We are here coming to you from Brisbane, Australia, at our old stomping ground.
Not just Brisbane State High, Australia.
Brisbane State High School, yeah. I could go on for ages about how incredible Luka is, but I'm going to hand it straight over to him and let him introduce himself. But a ton of people have heard about him. He is in every sense a wordsmith in the most eloquent, artistic, creative way, and just a real genius. You talk about words being paint for a canvas. This guy is just amazing. Such an inspirational story. And again, to inspire you to step out and not only live the dream, but make a living living the dream. And so let's throw it over to Luka. Luka, if you could just start off by telling us...
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you, and a little bit about what you do.
I'm Luka Lesson. I'm a poet, spoken word artist, rap artist, word artist. Kind of has more to do with emotion and experience and passion, I think, more than words. Words are kind of just a tool. You know, and we were talking earlier about everyone kind of finds their thing to express themselves with, you know. So my thing's words, but it's definitely comes from a different place than, you know, the technical idea of, you know, that words need to be the main thing, you know. It's beyond that. It's more important that it's kind of connected with a intention, you know, and something that's powerful. So yeah, but that's what I do. That's my medium. I write and perform my own work. It's my second year as a full-time poet. And I've been touring the world the last couple of years. It's been crazy. Too many planes, to the point where now I'm like, I'm good for a couple of months. I don't have to catch a plane, you know, for a while. And I landed in Brisbane and hang out with fam and do a couple of festivals, and I was like excited that I didn't have to catch a plane again. So I go. My next trip is to South Africa in March.
Good deal. And Luka's being really humble at the moment. I know he's been put in the same platform as guys like Saul Williams. So I want you just to tone down the humility a little bit and just give us some of the highlights of your career so far. What are some of these big shows that you've been able to perform on?
Yeah, wow. One of my highlights was because when I first kind of started, I saw this show called Def Jam Poetry, which a lot of people have seen. If you haven't seen it, just look it up on YouTube. DEF Jam Poetry. It was a TV show in the States on HBO that lasted for about 6 seasons, I think. And that's where I got inspired. You know, I saw that and I was like, yeah, man, I need to do this. You know, and there was a dude on there named Lemon Anderson.
Okay.
And he's from New York, and he has a great style and something that I resonated with, and I was like, man, I've got to do this. His passion and vibe was really what I was into.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 years later, I was on a panel sitting next to Lemon Anderson, judging other poets, you know, and so it's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's been real crazy. We got to kick it and tour. We did the Auckland Writers Festival and the Sydney Writers Festival together.
Yeah.
So that was dope. That was crazy. I went to the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, which is a real famous spot in Manhattan, where a lot of the beat poetry came out of. A lot of history of poetry, especially from the States, has been developed in spoken word. It's a great venue. It's iconic, you know. I've performed there 5 times now. I've hosted their open mic there. I've done stuff there, which is cool. They got a good family, you know. It's a great place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great journey, you know. Like I've really kind of just gone, this is it.
Yeah.
I have to do this. I feel more at home on stage than off it, you know. And like I kind of feel like it's come to me and it's pulled me along, you know, in this journey, but I've done a lot of pushing, you know.
Yeah, sure. The main reason why I really wanted to share Luka's story is our biggest audience are probably those that feel stuck in, say, the 9 to 5, and you've got that dream burning inside of you, and to uncover it and to how to build a lifestyle around that. And with Luka, I think one of the fascinating things is people look onto your life and see your achievements and think that you're a child prodigy. And so Luke is going to share now that absolutely was not the case, that what he's doing now is in every sense stepping out into uncharted waters and navigating himself through that. So Luke, if you go back to, say, let's go to after high school and perhaps your journey of following the conventional path to steering away.
So I finished high school and I was kind of happy with my grades, and I was lucky that my mum and dad really enforced in me to have good English, like they came from migrant families. My mum came over when she was a baby. My dad was born here, but he would speak Greek at home and speak English at school. My parents forced themselves to speak English at home so that I would be speaking English and getting good at it. And my mum helped me with a lot of my assignments, and I got to the point where English was my best tool, And so I got to uni though, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I did some business subjects for a while. I did commerce and all sorts of stuff like that, because I just thought that that's what a good ethnic kid should do, That's what the Greek boys, or that's what I should do. And it definitely wasn't for me, and I figured that out when I turned up to my calculus exam without a calculator. That's how much I cared about it.
Yeah. Definition of irony.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't think I need this. So I moved away from that, and I got into anthropology and indigenous studies, and I found a lot of truth and a lot of knowledge and a lot of solace in that underground knowing of what Australia's history really is, and what has been kind of turned into something quite secretive, in Australia, in terms of our education. And so that was really great for me. I really found the heart of Australia, I think, and I really met amazing people and went on amazing journeys, and really learnt a lot, and was journaling and writing, and doing all that kind of stuff, and that was good. And then I hit a pretty heavy wall. I hit a physical wall. I hit some like physical health problems.
Yeah.
And I also hit some emotional problems too, with a really heavy breakup. And that sent me spiraling. And I went down to really, really rock bottom. I got to the point where I was considering ending my life, and I was like really, really down low, and I didn't have any money, and I didn't have my health, and I didn't feel like I could work, and my mental health was really in trouble. And I was like, man, what is this, and all I really had was that one tool that I'd been given, as a kid, which was to write and to be able to express myself.
Wow.
So I started writing poems and writing, just journaling and just writing what I could, and I found that as well as writing, performing them was really important, that getting them out into the world and speaking to people, and sharing what I was going through, or at least, if it wasn't a poem about what I was going through, at least being able to scream my existence, to the world. Wow. I think that's what a lot of us crave, to feel like we are being heard, or we exist, or
that's really
something very cathartic about that. And that was kind of something that was my beginning, and from my healing it became my world, it became my everything. And I still, we're talking like a 4-year journey now, like a 5-year journey kind of thing. So this is like a very short detail, and there's ups and downs and ins and outs, and this whole kind of trial that brings me up to today. But basically, what happened was, it got to the point where I was working a 9 to 5, and it was a good 9 to 5, it was a great 9 to 5 at Monash University in Melbourne, but it still wasn't my passion, it wasn't what I knew I had in me. There's something in you when you're an artist, especially, and I think everybody has that element in them. There's something in you that just goes, no. It doesn't matter how good this looks on paper. I need to do the thing that looks like a bad choice, but it's going to feed my soul, and that is going to keep me solid,
I love what you just said in quotation, looks like a bad choice, because there are so many people that are stuck but feel like if they were to quit and give up, that would be a bad
Yeah.
choice, but really.
In the end, man, it comes to a point where you sit at your desk and you think, and it hurts so much to go to that job that it's a bigger risk to stay.
Oh, that's
You know?
really good, man.
It's a bigger risk to stay in that job
Yeah.
than it is to step out
Yeah,
and take
yeah.
the risk of
Yeah.
going alone, you know. And there's just all this. There's a lot of safety in having a job, and yeah, I mean, I'm always chasing work, and you know, being a full-time artist is, is twice as full-time as the 9 to 5, you know,
Yeah,
because I gotta be creative, I gotta write good stuff, you know,
Yeah.
I gotta get on stage and be clear-minded and ready to connect with an audience, and,
Yeah.
and in that love position, and I also have to answer the emails, and I have to, you know, the first couple of years were really tough, and now I'm getting to a point where I can build that and build a team around me, and so there is definitely a business side of things, and I enjoy that side of things as well, you know, and I'm a bit of a control freak, so I know how a good show should go, so I like to curate my own gigs, or you know, there's lots of things that I like to have my hands in that revolve around me being on the stage. It's not just that, you know. So
What would you say would be the best thing about everything that you've done, stepping out and building a business around doing what you love?
the best thing about it is that I think that in a real career that will last a person's lifetime, your health, your relationships, your money or financial stability, your access to people and exposure to the world, they all grow together equally, you know. So as my health gets better, so does the opportunities, or so do my performances, and my performances getting better feeds into how I get paid, or how I get supported by people, or where I get to tour to, and as I get to tour, then I get to see more people, and then those more people tell more people, and I'm really enjoying at the moment not trying to go for broke and be, you know, the king of the world, but just kind of see how I can do projects that affect people's lives in a positive way. I get to help other people along the way, and you know, that's part of my healing, and that's part of their healing, and that's part of our collective consciousness as a planet, and grow more towards, you know, some really conscious, sustainable careers for artists, you know, that are really helping the world, and you know, moving away from, you know, the hit song kind of mentality, you know, and really providing some grounded grassroots tools for people along your way. And yeah, it's been incredible, man. I've done workshops for CEOs to, you know, the poorest kids I've ever seen in the world, you know. I've done gigs for people in their own lounge room, you know, in Boston, and 700 people in Byron Bay, you know. It's just cool, man.
Yeah, no, it really reminds me of this quote. I don't know who said it, but just striving not to be a man of success, but a man of value. And it sounds like that's what you really.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about becoming that mega star or that.
Yeah, man. If that comes along, and I mean, there's an element of that in terms of being able to access as many people as possible. If I ever say I want to be a star, or I want to be big, or I want to be, that's only because I have been told enough times by people that my work has helped them.
Yeah.
That I want my work. If I've been given this gift, then I need to accept that it's okay to want to give it to as many people as possible.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, absolutely. And that being the thing that drives you, rather than the success in and of itself, but wanting to change people's lives.
Instead of wanting, I think a lot of people kind of see it as, I want something from people.
Okay.
I want people to give me money. I want people to give me, you know, like I want people to make me a star, you know, like I don't really see that. I want to give, you know, I want to give.
Yeah.
And I want people to give freely if they want to, you know, and that's developing that as an artist, I think is the best way to look at things, because it's way more sustainable, you know what I mean? I know what I'm building now, no one can take it from me. No record label has given it to me. Yeah. No, you know, nobody's given it to me, you know, like, so it's there, it's always going to be there. Whatever I build stays, you know, so.
So inspiring, man. Love it. Now, what advice would you give to someone that's just, like, you're just hitting their heart with every word that you say, and they are stuck in that 9 to 5? If they shot you an email and said, Luka, I'm at rock bottom, I don't know what to do, everything that you're saying resonates with me, there is an inner artist in me, give me some actionable, simple steps to take from here on in. What few steps would you give them?
A few steps I would give them. One would be to watch, read, listen to, consume as much of your art form as possible. So whatever it is that you do, get amongst it.
Yeah.
Get amongst it in a deep way. You can't do it without a community. You know, like you can't do it without witnessing other people. As a poet, you know, going to shows, going to see who's performing, or you know, for me, when I go and I'm asked to perform, always watching the other poets and getting exposed to as much stuff as possible is really important. You know, you need to put a lot of hours into your art form, you know, like, and a lot of heart into your art form.
Yeah.
So don't I think it's important for us to get the spark and kind of go, you know, like, I read this book about, you know, becoming my own something, you know, awesome. But really, that book is just the spark, you know. You need to spend hours in your art form and become totally encased in it. The other thing I would do is make sure you got a pool of cash.
Okay.
Make sure that if you're in that job and you hate it, at least use it, you know, like, at least save some money. The hardest year for me, and I knew it was always going to be the hardest year, was the year that I was working at the same time as performing every weekend. So I was like at uni, tutoring day in, day out. It was an hour and a half, a walk, a tram, a train and a bus to uni in the morning at 7:30 a.m. every day, just so I could get there for my first lecture, 9 a.m. lecture.
Insane.
And or 9 a.m. tutes. And then on weekends, you know, usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, I was performing for free anywhere I could find.
Wow.
You know, any stage, any open mic, any feature, any gig, any hip hop gig, and I'd just do a poem in between songs, or like anything I could get my hands on for a year. I just performed fundraisers, protests. I used to busk outside clubs, you know, like in Brisbane here before I even left. You know, that's when I was doing more just rap stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but that year where it was both, you know, where you're doing the job that you don't like as well as rocking your art form at the same time, because then once you quit that job and get rid of it, then you're already in the community, you're in the trajectory, you're already respected as an artist, you're already doing it big.
Yeah,
you know?
Man, that's great.
So that was that. I guess I could say that's probably the most important thing for me. That was the most important thing for me. It's hard to kind of give straight up advice when you don't know what people in the end. They gotta take all the advice, like you've done and I did. Take all the advice from all the people around you.
Yeah.
And really decide what to say no to and decide what to take on. And you know, that has to resonate with your context. Otherwise, it's going to be the wrong thing.
Yeah. No. And it sounds like, really hearing about you share about all the hustling and working your backside off is really validation of that passion. I think one thing, when people have a passion and they don't pursue it, they're able to come up with a lot of excuses, and I think in a sense that validates the fact that they're not that passionate about it. But you going busking, getting up early in the morning, working your backside really validates your passion. I think that's something that a lot of folks need to think about. You know, try and validate your passion by seeing how hard you're willing to work. I think the other thing you mentioned, community being huge as well, immersing yourself and learning from others, but also having that support group.
You know, like even now, you know, like you can never be too good for anybody. You know what I mean? Like, no matter, like, I think a lot of people are like, I'm gonna be the best painter in the world, or I'm the best this, or I'm the best that, you know, and to do that, they kind of shut themselves in, and they just, you know, totally surrounded by only their work, and they don't, you know. And I think that's cool, and there's a time for that. But yeah, you know, you need to drop your ego and just move in circles where you meet people that are doing totally different shit to you. You know what I mean? Like totally different stuff. Like I do a lot of political work, you know, and you know, I always hang with poets that just write love poems or just write stuff that's pretty and don't care about kids starving in other parts of the world or Australia or racism, or they don't absolutely give a shit at all. You know, but that's not a reason to not be friends with those people or learn from the way that person uses metaphor, the way that person performs in very quiet tones, or the way that person promotes themselves. You know, like there's always something to learn from everybody in your field. You know, it might be, if you're a painter, it might just be their use of red. You know, like who knows, but there's always something to learn from someone, and they might not be all your style, but drop the ego so you can learn, you know, otherwise you're in trouble.
Wow, man, that's a quotable right there. Drop the ego so you can learn. That's a great lesson to take away from this. Now, have you had a sort of top of the world experience, a breakthrough moment where you're just sitting back pinching yourself? Share with our viewers one of those experiences where you're just thinking, is this real? Is this really happening?
Yeah, I guess it's hard to pinpoint. I kind of have highs and lows, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like pinching myself, and other times I'm like, man, this is so tough. And I've actually got a friend that I just met that I've known her for a while, but recently we met up, and she said to me, hey, if you ever get like that again, just give me a call, you know? Like, so it's cool. I've got people to call on, just like for them to go, all good, you're on it, you know, you can do this. So I still have those moments, but one pinchable was in Melbourne recently. I had my book launch for The Future Ancients, this book that I just finished, my first collection. And I did my launch at a venue that I've always dreamed about performing at, a beautiful theatre venue in Melbourne called the Malthouse. I did some school workshops for them in the morning. So I did 2 schools came in, and we did a workshop and a performance for them. And then that night we had my launch. And I had 4 or 5 of my favorite poets in Melbourne in support. So they got up before me, and that was just cool.
Love it.
And then I got up and I performed my set, and at the end of my set, there was one standing ovation. And then I did another poem, and there was another standing ovation. Man. And this is in this venue that I've like always dreamed of, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. And a lot of friends were there, but also a lot of people I didn't know at all. Wow. And then afterwards I was signing books, and there was just this lineup of people to come and buy books. And a lot of them I'd never seen before or met before. Man. So it's really fucking crazy. It's really, really crazy that
it's so inspirational
that it's happening, you know, that there's real people that are really getting my stuff, and I'm glad I don't have to beg my friends to come to shows anymore, send text messages to everyone. And I mean, you have to do that when you have to do that, but there comes a time where you need to fly a bit more. So even though you think, you know, quitting the job is like this big thing, it's just the first step. There's gonna be a quit the job moment the whole way through, you know, and now there's another moment now where I'm like, all right, cool, so this is where I'm at. Now I need to take the next step forward, you know, and then I'll get there and I'll be like, all right, now I gotta take the next risk. What's the next risk? Oh, well, now I gotta, you know, now I need to start a radio show, or now I need to tour more, or now I need to just do shows with 200 seated capacity, or now, you know, like, and that's what I want, you know. I want to get to the point where I can tour in Australia or overseas and pack houses and you know, do big things, you know. But I also love doing small gigs, so it doesn't really matter, you know, how many people are there, but the point is that I'm supported by my art form, you know. So
thank you so much for sharing that. I know you've already been a massive inspiration to tons of people, and you're going to go on to inspire millions more. So thank you so much for sharing that and just being transparent. I felt like I was living that whole experience with you, man. That's really neat. But I mean, I have 3 questions that I always ask everyone that I get to sit down with.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and as we wrap up here, I want
I
to.
forgot what they were though. I didn't get to prepare. All right.
No, well, that's good. It's completely unscripted, but I'll throw it your way, and if you have to sit on it for a bit, that's cool. The first one is, who has been the biggest influence on your life?
Oh man. The one biggest influence on my life. Man, it's just wrong. But for this moment,
Yeah.
for now, there's a poet named Khalil Gibran. He's a Lebanese poet who lived in New York, and he wrote a book. He wrote many books, but one book that he wrote was called The Prophet. And that book really got me when I was going through my stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was going through the heavy times, and I was writing, and I was believing, and I was starting to believe. That book came to me, and just did something, you know. And then from then, it's not just that book though. It's like learning about his life and about how he came to write that book and what his process was with writing that book, and how even though Arabic was his first language, he wrote it in English first of all, so that it would be perfect, and then he translated it himself into Arabic.
Wow.
And probably worked in both languages to make it happen. And yeah, there's just the story about that guy that's resonated for me for a long time. I mean, I
Yeah.
could. There's probably about 10 people like that
Yeah.
that I have that are my peeps.
Yeah,
You know, that are here. There's some of them are with us, some of them aren't, but they're like my. If I was, you know, polytheistic and I had many gods, that would be my god set, you know.
Yeah.
And they all influence me for different reasons, you know. There's Tupac, Frida Kahlo, Leonardo da Vinci,
Yeah,
Khalil Gibran, you know. There's a few, but that guy, that's the dude. I'll put him up the top.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. I know it's a tough question to throw out and kind of have to answer on the spot.
Okay.
The next question, what do you want to be remembered for in this life?
What do I want to be remembered for in this life?
So once you're gone, what are people going to say about Luka Lesson? What would you like them to say about Luka Lesson?
That it's possible to live with integrity, with social responsibility, and with a burning desire for the truth, and still have a really fucking good time.
Yeah.
And really help people find joy.
Awesome.
And help people find their own sense of freedom that no government or media or pill can give them. You know, there's freedom in that. The world's convinced that we need something to be happy. You know, we need things. You know, no one can take that or give that. You know, so it's a tough one. What do I want to be remembered by?
Yeah, no, I think
mean,
that's
what do you?
beautiful.
Yeah, what I want to be remembered by and what I'm remembered by, you know, maybe two totally different things. You know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like I think what I want to be remembered by is whatever the people resonate with.
That's
you know,
awesome.
like it's kind of their choice anyway.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer. Love it, man.
Yeah.
Last question. What is your definition of success?
Definition of success? Definition of success. I mean, a simple definition is, you know, you set up a goal and you knock it down, you know? And I do that every day, you know, write a list, knock knock it down.
Yeah.
Write a list, knock it down. Just keep that, you know, like you keep your eye on these big things, but every day it's still, you know, you post that letter, send this thing, type this email, write this poem, sort this commission, go to that gig, you know, like there's just like these little doors, you know, you just keep knocking them down.
Yeah.
So that's good. But for me, a definition of success, my personal definition of success is that I want to raise a family from poetry. That's my goal.
Yeah.
My goal is to find that someone, have a family, and be a poet for the rest of my life till the day I die. You know, like that's my success.
Love it.
So that's cool.
That's what we're looking for. Your
I'm cool with that.
Love it, brother. Love it. Now tell the viewers, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Just share a little bit about your book and your website, and we'll wrap it up.
So my book is called The Future Ancients. It's available from my website, which is www.lukalesson.com.au, LukaLesson.com.au. Soon to be on Amazon and distributed all over the shop, which is cool. And you can find me on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams, and you'll find a photo of me and this guy in a few minutes too. And otherwise, I have 2 albums already, and I have a 3rd album that's called Exit.
Wow.
That's coming out very soon. That's going to be free, and I just want to get it to as many people as possible. But it's a really, really killer album. It's crazy. I've recorded it over the last year and a half, and I'm really proud of it.
So excited about it, and we're going to have all of this in the show notes. And I'm going to be doing my best to spread who Luka Lesson is with the world. We're getting viewers from all over the world to the website, and so check out his website, lukalesson.com. Check out some of his material.
.au.
So I'll have it all underneath the screen and in the show notes, and so check it out. Just an inspirational story, and such a busy guy, and for him to just take time out of his schedule, I'm incredibly thankful. I'm incredibly inspired, and I know you are too. And so step out, be inspired, live the dream. Check out Luka Lesson, and we love you. Go out and rock this world.
Peace.
See you later. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, man.
Really appreciate it.